The personal guarantee is a very significant aspect of the franchise agreement. So even if you're going to be signing the franchise agreement through an entity, you will be obligated as an individual to fulfill those promises within that agreement, and your assets will be collateral for that agreement. And this is very common in franchise agreements nowadays. Some franchisors might be willing to negotiate it, some might not. And you want to be aware of what triggers the personal guarantee. Is it owners with any amount of equity? Is it owners with a certain amount of equity or more? And is there any limitations to that personal guarantee? Are there any caps that limit your liability, right? And negotiate it as you see fit for your particular situation. Next is the liquidated damages. So liquidated damages are there to compensate the franchisor for future revenue in the event of termination due to default. So usually liquidated damages are calculated as an average of the fees that you pay to the franchisor multiplied out by a certain number of months or by the number of months remaining on the term. Do remember that liquidated damages are not the only type of damages you might have. There might be other damages based on the situation of the termination. Okay. Next, you want to understand what system standards there are, what your obligations to follow the operations manual is, and what happens in the circumstance that you're unable to follow those standards, right? So the operations manual, every franchisor is going to have one. It's going to detail basically how to operate your business as a franchisee. Okay, and the franchisor will reserve the right to change that operations manual from time to time. So you do need to be aware of any changes that happen and, make sure that you're implementing those changes as soon as possible. Next, be aware of dispute resolution measures within that franchise agreement. What happens when there's a conflict with a franchisor, right? Are you required to mediate? Are you required to arbitrate? Are you waiving any punitive damages? Are you waiving a jury trial, right? Understand what are the dispute resolution clauses within that franchise agreement. Know the statute of limitations that's contained with the franchise agreement. Usually it's going to be a shorter period of time than you would be allowed by the state. So understand that and be prepared for that. Know what are the laws that govern that particular contract. So usually the laws of the state of the franchisor's home state are going to govern your contract. And if you initiate a lawsuit or if you initiate arbitration, they need to be carried out within the franchisor's home state. So you do need to, keep that in mind for the future and make sure that you're okay with it now and prepared for it for later.